What is good?
Hi, nerds. How we doing?
Jason and I are hanging out today.
Schlebby!
Yay!
Jen is so much more tattooed.
Yes, I do have a lot
Francis
of
Vaughn, what's going on? JP. Steve C.
Hello, hello,
Beards and Battle
everybody.
Axes, what's going on? Pun. Big Bob. And Ghost Hunter.
It's
and
a wild
Jabe.
Schlebby.
She's not that wild, Gabe.
I'm wild and elusive.
She's literally just sitting in a chair.
I'm wild and elusive.
No, you're literally just sitting in a chair.
I can still be wild and elusive sitting in a chair.
I don't feel like that's the case.
No, I can.
No.
I make it work.
I don't think that's how that works. I don't feel like that's the correct way to look at these
I
things.
can throw stuff, but I won't throw stuff because that would not be good. But sitting ever so wildly. Thank you, Punisher. Jason apparently doesn't believe in my ability to still be wild while sitting down. He's full of doubt.
You gotta be here. You gotta sense, you gotta be able to feel the energy in the room. It's all coming from right here. Right here, the old guy. The old guy. Jen used to deliver wet willies for us. That she did.
I'm not gonna do that.
That she did. That she did.
Unironically has all the stream power. It's true.
All right.
JP Gray, it's definitely a state of mind. You have to believe that you're wild.
Oh, you know what I need to do first? You clearly see a hat on backwards. It's not that old. I gotta move the hat so I can see.
Kind of an important part of painting.
Part of being old. See, the problem is, it's not that I can't see past the hat. It's that I can't see, so I lean in, and then the hat gets in there.
What details are you doing today, Jason?
I'm going to start with all the things I forgot.
Awesome.
There are some parts and pieces that as I'm going, and I need to paint the gold. So I need to paint this lion face on his tilt shield, gold. But somebody forgot to paint the black armor around it.
Oh, who could that be?
Well, I'm going to give you a slight guess. I'm going to let you have a little guess there, Schleb. I think
it's
me.
Jason. Wild guess.
Might have been me. Just going to go out on a limb.
Dang it, Baby J. Paint the black next time.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
That guy can't be trusted.
Hello, Wad.
Gave him a simple task.
Yeah, Jordan is still out with the plague.
Yep, plague-ridden. As is new guy Phil.
Big Bobzilla said, perhaps if your hat was on correctly, you would have seen it.
I'm going to need you to hush up of your face. Hush up of your face. Biggest Bobbus.
Hello, T. Schmidt. James Hiram. Welcome, welcome.
Biggest Bobbus.
We're gonna have some fun today, I think. I don't know how long I'll be here, but it'll be exciting nonetheless.
Oh, is Jen going to come steal your thunder?
She might.
Oh, she can't. She has to go home, too.
Well,
Did she already go home?
you never know. I don't know. I don't know what's happening, but...
She has to go home because we have an appointment after work. So she has to go let the dog out.
Right. Yeah, I don't know if she was gonna come back and try to be here for the end, but we'll see. Nonetheless, excited.
Stuck with Shelby all show.
Broken Chef, hello. Still no Jordan. I almost said still Norden.
Also true. Also true.
Yes, Jen did let the dog out.
She did?
Who let the dog out?
No.
Jen.
Did she?
I don't know.
You don't know. She's not talking about it.
I'm just reading.
She's not here saying anything.
I'm just reading things.
You don't know nothing.
See? Wad just highlighted his message to say, who let the dog out? You know?
Wad. I'm gonna need you to stop inciting the schlebby.
I love it. I love all the jokes.
So, Shelby, first thing to note:
Yes.
do not let chat influence you negatively. They will try to consistently. You need to be able to rely on your ability.
Jason, we both know.
To disallow what?
We both know that I influence myself. And it just so happens to sometimes align with what chat wants.
Oh my.
I don't make the rules.
This does not bode well for me, chat. This does not bode well for me at all, chat.
I'm not saying I'm always gonna side with them. Automaton. I like to inspire the youngins to chaos. What's the worst that could happen?
I mean, do we need to go there? This chat we're talking about can get really bad.
T. Schmidt said, technically Schlubby is in violation of the no singing, no dancing protocol because of WAD. I break that protocol probably like 10 times a day, I will say.
I'm not going to say out loud that I've given up on enforcing it with this girl, but we may have given up on enforcing it with this girl.
That's probably for the best. I think it would be for your... It'd be in your best interest to give up on that. It's kind of ingrained into me.
This is my life, Chad.
Part of my unspoken job is to break those small rules, which is singing and dancing. Ghost Hunter. She has to do something to not lose her mind while looking at left-handed paintbrushes.
Hey. What's wrong with looking at left-handed paintbrushes?
Well, you know, when you're right-handed, looking at left-handed paintbrushes.
Get used to it, righty.
It's a little harsh.
Get used to it, righty.
So sing some public domain show tunes on stream so as not to run afoul at the AI censors. I hate show tunes. Jason and I have talked about this.
Show tunes?
Yes. Like musicals.
Yeah.
We don't like them. We've bonded over that.
Not a fan.
Unfortunately for me, I have created somewhat of a paradox for myself due to the fact that I break out into songs sometimes. So
people think
people think
you're all about the show tune.
Exactly, but
in reality,
I'm in fact not about the show tunes.
I also am not a fan.
So Schlubby isn't a Disney princess? No. I don't think there are very many Disney princesses that have tattoos. So that's already one strike. Kyle keeps trying to play a game. He just asked, what animal am I? So when we were driving to LVO, Kyle introduced this game to me, his friend, and Jordan.
Uh-huh.
We played this game called What Animal Am I? You have to ask a question to figure out what animal the person is, but it has to be some sort of like descriptor. So we always kind of started with, are you a mammal? Something easy to kind of narrow it into a category.
You are familiar with the fact that Kyle has small children, right?
Yes,
okay,
yeah.
Gotcha. Just so you didn't think this came out of nowhere.
No, I was expecting something like this. And if we got that answer correct, it would have to be a yes or no question. If we got that answer correct, we would get to go immediately to asking a specific animal. So just like making our final guess to kind of continue narrowing it down.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of all of it, both Jordan and Kyle's buddy were passed out in the car. And Kyle revealed that that's how he gets his kids to fall asleep on road trips.
So it worked.
It worked.
That's so awesome.
But now he keeps trying to play it with me at the office.
Oh, no.
And it's not going to work out for me. I can't be falling asleep at work.
All right, this is going to be an amazing revelation right here.
I'm excited for this.
Chat, I want you to see something here. You see what I'm doing? This is the exact same wash that I mixed up days ago.
Wow.
It's the exact same cup of wash that I mixed up days ago, and it's just been sitting here. It's been so humid that it's letting me get away with it. Like, it's the glazed wash medium has kept it
That's awesome.
wet enough that I can still use it. That's insane, actually. That was easy. I didn't even have to remix anything. Fantastic.
Yeah.
You had raw meat on other food? What? Tartar sauce? Yeah, that's not how you spell that. I get it now. You had raw meat on other food?
Baby J still abandoned us. Yep. Him and Phil.
Why is Jay asking, oh, are you an alligator?
Yeah.
Back to that thing. Chivenger. Disney bought Fox, so Dr. Frankenfurter from Rocky Horror now counts as a Disney princess. Also true.
Speaking of days ago, I made a comment about your brush holding a point, and the response was made into a YouTube video.
Somebody said I use an auto tuner for my normal voice, Big Bob? What? You've met me in person. You know this is the reality. The tip of rotating the brush from last stream is good stuff. Chivenger, yeah, that video is getting some good hits. I hope that it does influence people quite a bit, because it is really that simple, right? I mean, it comes down to that being the situation that most people fall into that causes them problems is that they don't rotate the brush and chase the tip.
Mm.
But that's just something that I learned after painting for years. Just something I picked up, started doing.
Hello, Awkwardish Panda.
Hey, Panda?
Welcome. I'm always so fascinated by watching you paint, Jason.
Why is that?
It's just so crazy to me how you can do all of it with, like, I don't know, painting to me is just one of those things that is always so, what's the word? It just captures my attention so fully.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, Schlebby has made a big decision in her life.
I have made a very big decision.
I'll let you talk about it.
Yeah.
But Chad, I want you to offer your full support, because it's a big day for Schlebby.
Very big day. Yeah, I got back from LVO, had a great time, and Gabe took me to see the small exhibit that was up at the convention center of the models that are curated for that museum. I can't remember the name of it.
Verco's Vault.
Yes. And it was very inspiring, just seeing all of these amazing pieces of art that were just very well done, and people obviously put a ton of time into. But I also just spending time with the community, talking to people, it was just super fun, and I wanted to start getting more into painting. I already had been getting more into painting, but I decided to buy Evo bag, all of our paints, any tools that I will need. I'll probably end up getting like 3 of the models that we have here because I'm obsessed with them. But yeah, I just want to paint a lot more, and I'm really excited about it, and Jason's really excited about it.
Awesome. One of us.
Yeah, you did it. Sons of Guns, you did it.
I love it. I love people getting excited about the hobby, and I really love what gets people excited about the hobby. I love that you saw some really fine art style pieces and that really spoke to you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's huge.
Yeah.
You know, because it's not the same thing that captures everybody, but finding something that grabs you, you know, because you may have had, you know, Gabe and the guys, you know, and being around here, you see people painting and talking about the games, and you see the energy associated with it and how excited we get as boys with our toys.
Yeah.
And then you go out and you find something like that you're like, oh, but look at this, right? It has nothing to do with the gaming nerdiness of it or anything like that. It's literally just a fine art.
Yeah.
It's something you can look at and say, wow, I just want to create things that have that effect on people.
Yeah. And who knows if I'll ever get to that level. I don't foresee myself getting to that level unless I ditched all my other hobbies, which isn't happening. But
she says this now. I want you guys to mark this date. As she says, well, that's not happening. And then she gets all the paint. And we're gonna talk to Jen and see if we can't schedule her in here, and we'll have a Jason and Schlebby paint off week where we do what Jordan and I did. We'll both grab the same model, and I'll give her painting lessons on painting that model while I paint it along with her, and we'll see how that goes down. And after that, we'll recircle around the whole the heck with all my other hobbies part of it.
Hey, I can't give up crocheting. Or embroidering, or cross-stitching. Those are non-negotiables. But I am very excited to start painting more.
Awesome.
Yeah. I do like fine art. And that was, in my mind, fine art. Golden Demon is in March. Get to it. Yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah, I think I definitely, because the gaming side of it isn't as big of a factor for me, I think it'll be really fun for me to focus on like doing display models and being able to do like detailed things and do it slow. And I feel like you can do that with the gaming pieces, but a lot of times you're so excited to play the game that you just want to like paint your models, get paint on them, make them look good, and then play the game.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to do some display models. As crazy as that sounds.
I love that that's your jump on point. Murder the world.
Yep.
Do the big stuff right out of the gates. Just because that's how I treat it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I'm always like, you know what? Let's get good, scrub.
Right.
Jump in the deep end, see if this thing floats, and then we'll worry about learning it as we go.
Hey, somebody likes us.
Thank you for the follow, Logifuso. I think that's how you say it. I probably missed a letter in there. The other thing that happens is you never play the game because you paint every model like a display. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Yeah. That's my problem. Every model in my army, I've got these big ideas. Oh, I'm going to do this. It's going to be looking so cool. And at the end of the day, you're like, yeah, I can't do this on 50 models.
Yeah.
I love it. It looks great. No way.
Yep. I also got excited about like doing basing stuff because I got all of those little grass tufts, and I actually like shifted gears a little bit on my bird model that I was working on because I wanted to do a snow base, but I had started with a zenithal highlight, and if I'm doing a snow base, that doesn't really work out great because I need to have that lighting in the like reflecting on its stomach as well.
Yep.
So I kind of pivoted, and now I'm doing.
That's a very insightful statement.
Thank you.
Recognizing that you want to do a particular style, but knowing that the direction you're heading won't befit that style very well is very good. That's something that takes a lot of people a long time to really gather around the fire with that mentality, right? It's like, I want to do snow, but I also want to do this other thing, because it's so easy to also just want to combine a bunch of cool looking stuff.
Right.
I want to do all these effects and that, and then, you know, when we talk about it, it's like, okay, we have to think, because the big class that I used to teach was called Value, Volume, and Victory. And the idea behind it was that you have to look at everything and approach it from a standpoint of light. Where are your bright spots? Where are your dark spots? How do the things you want to accomplish visually fit within that contrast created from bright and dark? So if you want to do OSL, you have to tell yourself or ask yourself and be honest about, okay, well, OSL only really comes off right visually if I use that brightness to represent that light that's reflected on the object. And so it's like, okay, so then that has to be one of the brighter things on the model. So then you want to combine that with a snow scene, and all of a sudden you're in trouble, because unless you do your snow scene at night, which makes that very hard, because doing snow and doing it dark and having it not look like just dirt becomes a difficult thing on its own.
Yeah.
And so you've upped the ante to get the point across, because you have to take what is generally some shade of white, which is your brightest color. You can't get brighter than white. And you have to make OSL fight with that.
Right.
So it's tough.
Yeah.
Right. Your OSL is always going to get lost, because the human eye can only take so much, and especially at miniature where it sees all of it at once, you know, then it's very difficult, because the eye migrates to the bright areas of contrast, and that contrast is always going to be wherever the dark thing hits the snow.
Yeah.
And then your light just looks like, you know, fruit juice spilled on the model at some point, I say. So
yeah.
Yeah, so knowing when to pivot and to get those things to work is huge.
Yeah. I'm definitely excited to start like learning more about the light and how to use it on the models, because it is a very crucial skill.
It's all we do as artists is we fake light, you know?
And it's difficult to do well, I feel.
What I'm doing right now.
I know. You've been painting for so long.
Well, but, you know, I have been painting for a long time in my life. The reality, though, is it's only been the last maybe, 20 years that it's been something that, as a focus, I was really intent on getting better.
Yeah.
You know, that I started studying for myself what it meant to want to do what I'm talking about, you know, to do a light source, you know. I looked at those things before, but it's only been in the last 20 years that it became something where I was like, okay, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do it the way that it needs to be done to have the most impact, as opposed to just kind of faking it, you know? Right.
James said he did his first NMM yesterday.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How'd it turn out? And how'd you like the experience?
He said it's not great, but I tried it.
That's the thing.
That's the most important part. Just trying it. Millimeter Matt, you could just call him old, you know, Schlebby. Well, didn't want to like outright. I'll let you infer. And...
You're so old.
Said I use transparent blue as a filter, and it's a little too blue.
Yeah, you got to be careful. The filters that you do over non-metallic or that you mix in, if you're using our transparent paints, you got to be remembering that they are super pigmented. A little goes a very long way. I kind of got derailed here, and I'm working on other things now. I was like, oh, you know, it would be great if I did a little bit of highlighting on the black armor now that I did that tilt panel.
It does look really cool. The highlighting that
Well,
you're
this
doing.
final kind of punch really will give us the feel of the black armor.
Yes.
Because as I put these little dots and doots of brightness on the armor, it darkens everything else up.
Yep, I
mean, the way contrast works with the eye is exactly that. You know, if I put a bright spot here on this very top edge of the gorget, then every other part of the gorget starts looking darker.
Yep.
Because the eye starts coming here to that point, right? We always talk about how it's the smallest amount of paint when doing things like reflective surface painting, like, you know, non-metallic metal and such. It's the small amounts of paint that have the biggest impact. Because these little bitty bursts of brightness that I'm throwing on here are what really start making it read like shining.
Yeah. Hello, Panic Bomb.
What's going on, Panic? Transparent red is a little too punchy. Happens to the best of us. Got to reel it in. All right, I just need to get those steel parts done. I'll continue to highlight all the rest of the steel later, but that gives us a good feel. I can use this as my point of reference now.
Nice. Are you doing the lion now?
Yeah, I'm gonna go back and start doing in all the gold that I wasn't able to do. The lion on the tilt shield, on the wrist here.
Nice. Oh, that'll make it look so cool.
Right on there. Yeah, the line on this one is cool. I need to go in and Brighton, I quit yesterday here. I need to do this side over here. But I wanted to get all the rest of the gold base because we obviously missed some.
Right.
We'll do that.
I like that you went with a kind of brassy gold.
Yeah, I like the more tarnished look. So I'm doing it with dark gold and brown as a base. And then I'm using this first edition Wizard's Butt.
Nice.
As a color, but you could use warm yellow the same way.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Since not everybody has access nor will have access, since there's only like 10 or 12 copies of Wizard's Butt in the world.
Yep. Crazy.
Don't feel left out. You can use warm yellow.
Mm-hmm.
It'll just be a little warmer than what I'm doing here. Steve C says like a 1 to 4 transparent paint to water or glaze wash medium. I go bigger than that. I typically do something that feels more like 10 to 1 medium to paint. I do a lot of medium and a lot of thinning with the transparents. You know, we did the black and blue over the top of this armor to get the black armor feel. That's all glazed with transparent black and transparent blue. And the idea being that, you know, I had to dilute it, you know, 8 or 10 to 1. If you go back and watch the video from the other day, it was crazy how much I diluted the base.
Automaton asks, was the mystery color from the other day the new transparent red? I remember you mentioning there was going to be a new transparent red that didn't get as pink when thinned.
Oh no, the transparents are all single pigment. You're talking about the one where I posted and asked what color do you think this will be? No, the transparents are single pigment. And so the transparent red that we'll be doing is just another single pigment paint. But that color is a great color. Shalebi knows what it is. She's seen it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Seen all of them.
When she sat in the chair the other day with the color card in hand, it was one of the colors on that card.
I got to describe all the colors. It was so fun. Once you said, you're making me want to paint minis again. Yes. That's our goal.
Job. Enjoy this hobby. It's so great in so many ways. We were talking about it before the stream started that it offers so much. You just have to spend enough time to figure out where your favorite place is, right? And then you can go about it however you like. You like to paint alone for a couple hours a night to just, you know, drop out of the world and settle yourself before bed, fantastic, it does that very well. You want to paint competitively, fantastic, it does that very well. You want to just paint so that you can do tournaments and shows and stuff like that, great. Just to play with your friends, great. You know?
Like Miniac says, paint more minis.
Yeah, paint more minis. Take more chances. Find ways and things that you like to do.
Hmm?
It is my favorite hobby of all time. I've done a lot of things, and the one that I would always come back to was this.
Yeah.
Because it is so relaxing when you need it to be. It's as social as you want it to be. You know, we can sit here and discuss painting live on stream. I can go to my local gaming store and paint with people. I can post stuff online if I want to do that. You know, I have all sorts of opportunities to share if I want to. It can be as introverted as I want it to be. Right?
Yeah.
I don't have to share a damn thing. I don't have to paint for anybody but myself. Completely up to me.
Mm-hmm. Hello, Jade.
There's not a ton of pressure behind it or anything, which is nice.
Yeah. Yeah, that is the one thing I'm so excited about so many things with getting into painting, but one of the big things also is that it's different from all of my other hobbies. It just uses a different side of my creative brain.
It definitely does.
Yeah, because there's so much you have to think about, and you have to work with so many different artistic elements, whereas with crocheting and embroidery and cross stitch, it's
largely mechanical.
And it's a bit more straightforward in the things you have to do. So I'm very excited.
The creativity is in the pattern and maybe your interpretation of changing the pattern, but then it's the mechanics of getting the pattern done that is the focus point for the bulk of your work.
Yeah.
And that has its own level of involvement and creativity and all that, and training and practice and fulfillment when you get done. Oh my God, I did this stitch that I didn't think I could ever do. And
right.
all that kind of stuff is great.
Yeah.
This is totally different. Right? This gives you a total different outlook and ability to approach your creativity. You know, you may find that this works, tenfold for certain things that you're looking to get out of your art.
Right.
Over, doing those other things.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan. It's very therapeutic. Painting, I can come in on the weekend. I haven't in a long time, and I can't. It's hard to forgive myself for not coming in. I come in and I do work, but I don't really paint. And I got to remember that sometimes just turning on a good book, putting brush to model, and enjoying painting for painting's sake is really a good therapy. A lot of times I'm just like, I got to get this done. I don't have time for that. And I forget. Make time for it. Make time for the things that get your brain juiced back up, recharge you. And for me, painting can do just that. It does during the day, like right now. Sitting around and painting with you guys and gals on the stream is big for me on certain days because I have so much cramming in my schedule constantly that it's nice to be able to come in here and for 2 hours just kind of breathe.
Yep.
Tell bad jokes, listen to bad jokes, blame chat for things.
Setting aside the booth or work, what game is most likely to get you to sit down for a game at Adepticon? I think they're asking you.
Shyvenger, this year I'm actually playing Warcry for the first time. I have a challenge with zombies. So I painted up my Warcry warband, my Gorger Maw Pack, right? I still have some details I got to work out on them, but, like the arrows and stuff. But I painted up this Gorger, we call them Gorger, the Gorger Maw Pack. So I painted these guys up, so I've got my Gorgers to take out and beat zombies ruthlessly.
Wow.
But for me, the games that I really enjoy playing are BattleTech. I'm getting back into Starfleet Battles, so we brought out and painted a Federation Dreadnought and a Klingon Dreadnought here recently to get our color schemes ready so we could paint up all of these guys. I've got 10 Federation ships and 11 Klingon ships to paint up. So I can play some Federation Commander and Starfleet Battles and, Starmada, things like that. those games I really like. I have a struggle with playing games. I always love the idea of the game more than the game itself most of the time. So it's tough for me. The idea of painting up an army is always seems super cool, but the follow through on it really kind of falls apart because I know I'm not going to do anything with the army. Mm. Whereas like my BattleTech army, I painted up 47 miniatures in 2 weeks or whatever it was, and I'm flying out next week with to do the show with Miniac to teach him BattleTech. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm going to take that army with me, or I'm going to take a big chunk of my miniatures. I'm going to do a predisposed box of miniatures where here are the ones he's going to run, here's the one I'm going to run. And, we're going to do a live show with him. So that gets me jazzed. But like we have game night here on Friday nights, and I very rarely find myself planning to play, right? There have been nights where we've planned to play like Commander, Magic, and I get psyched for that because it's easy and I don't have to put a lot of brain work into it. I just pick a deck and go play cards. Mm-hmm. With the miniatures games, it's a little more difficult for me because I don't have a lot of time these days to pay attention to rules creep. So 40K and Age of Sigmar are generally out because I can't keep up with the General's Handbook editions and the whatever the current meta is. I just don't have the brain power. So BattleTech and those kind of games fit more because there's no real creep or change to those games. They can introduce new mechs that might be cool, but they don't overpower old mechs. They have a cost associated with them, so it doesn't really change. So I really like that because it is more stable. Once you know the rules, you might just have to freshen up on the rules, but the game. I mean, technically BattleTech still plays like it did 20 years ago. And same with Starfleet Battles. So those games I gravitate more towards, not because I think they're necessarily better games per se, but because they don't change. And so my attention span can be very short with them. I just have to kind of remember the core and then get the refresher. The first 15 minutes or so, I got the rust scraped off and I'm back into it. Whereas if I were to try to go play Age of Sigmar right now, I don't have the time to sit down and understand how my orcs play versus how they played 8 months ago. I just don't. And I could make the time, but I have more important things to do. So that's a shame. Chuck the Mead Man, what's going on?
And then Zappos asked you to zoom in on the chest for your model.
Lexing says, I haven't played any war games yet. Play a lot of board games, but I don't even know how to approach war games. You're painting up bands for Forbidden Psalm Last War now, but I don't know if I'll like playing. I mean, the best thing is to pick, in my opinion, when getting into tabletop wargaming for the first time and enjoying miniatures and such, the thing is to start with a game like Warcry or BattleTech or something that takes a small amount of miniatures. BattleTech can be played with one miniature technically, but 4 is a really solid game. And then Warcry is anything from 5 to some of the warbands have like 15. But it's a small amount of miniatures. So there's a lot of games like that. The Games Workshop games make it very available because they're everywhere. So 4 or 5 miniatures. I don't know the game you're speaking about, but I can assume it's a fairly small skirmish game too. Start there with a rule set that's easy to learn and play and just see. They're just like board games and RPGs in terms of, in most cases, RPGs go way more out of control with the amount of rules you have to know. And so the war game itself probably is very simple to get the rules down. It's more about the experience with the other person because they're PvP games, right? And so if you're not somebody that enjoys playing PvP games all the time, which I know, board games are technically PvP, but they don't feel as PvP. They're not, I'm doing my best to destroy you every turn. Some of them really are, but they're presented in a different way. Even Monopoly, where you're trying to gouge the person around you is technically PvP. War games just feel more like, like that video game where you're trying to boom headshot everybody. And so it's really more about the experience of how those teammates and opponents react to sharing that time with you. So I always stress to people, find a friend or somebody who you're confident you've seen, give demo games to other people. Who's not just out to stomp your guts. There can be a really bad demo that can really sour your taste for war games because, you need to be given the opportunity to feel yourself through the rules, get a feel for how your army plays, because every army in most games has a personality of its own. So you want to feel like, is this the right army for me inside of a game? Because you can like the game but dislike the army you're playing in a lot of games that have multiple factions. And it's so you want to be in a situation where you can make those decisions after you're done, as opposed to just sitting down and playing against somebody who beats the crap out of you and you feel like, oh, I hate that game. Because you might have a lot of things you love about that game, but the scenario just wasn't provided to you in a correct way. So find somebody you enjoy playing with. If you don't have friends that already play war games, try to find a local store and ask. Ask the store, hey, do you have anybody that runs demos that you're confident is going to make me want to play the game after we're done with the demo? You know, and then find those people. But you have to be vocal about it and go find them if you don't have them built into your social group. Rocket Chicken, what's going on? If you have people that you play board games with, though, it sounds like you do. RPGs and board games take other people. So as long as you're not just doing them on Tabletop Simulator or online and you have people you can get in front of to roll dice with, that's the best way. Learn the game together, have fun, do it wrong. Don't be mad about not getting the rules right. Play the game, have fun. If at the end of the day you play this game 100 times only to find out you've been doing it wrong the whole time, who cares? It doesn't matter. You played a game that you made up on your own off of these rules and you had a great time with it, keep doing it. You know, don't let any of that get in your way. Because wargaming can be completely hilarious, good times, but in the wrong way, it can really knock you down too. Malabar, any thoughts on Bloodthrone, the new game from FLG? I can't say anything about it. The miniatures are a bunch of regurgitated. Well, a lot of them are regurgitated from a company we don't speak about around here, which I thought was odd. It's a fantasy kind of skirmishy game. I don't feel like that's a good... I mean, unless I'm missing something about it being more RPG-like. I feel like fantasy does really well in an RPG kind of one-off world or in that kind of single-player adventure style. Outside of that, we see that fantasy games don't suffer very well the world of wargaming. You're much better off doing something more sci-fi oriented. Battletech might change things like the era, but you can play at any point in the timeline. Panic Bomb. Oh yeah. The era may change, but the game itself doesn't get to where there's a faction that's better than another one. Everybody has access to the same kind of stuff. So, go see you blame us for your first box of Warcry. It's an easy game to get into. Again, the cost of entry is lower. The models are great. You know. Again, I'm a fan of trying games that if you don't like them, don't feel like you did anything other than go out to a restaurant you maybe didn't enjoy as much as you thought you were. You know, if you go out and you spend $500 on something that you don't like, that I'm not a fan of. You know, but I can go buy the Warcry Warband for whatever it was, $49, $50, and it's just you know, it winds up just being another night you spent doing something. If you paint them up and you don't like the game, you still got cool painted models. Yeah, go to a shop, watch people play, find something cool. Definitely a good way to do it. One page rules is a great jump off too. Yeah, I know they have smaller skirmish rules now too. Yeah, we've been talking to the one page guys. Great company, doing some fun stuff. Monopoly absolutely feels like an attack on my happiness. Probably not the best analogy there because it is the quintessential PvP hate your family game.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Thank you for the resub, Rocket Chicken. Just play Pokemon. I'll sponsor you with a deck. Pokemon has a meta. You know? It's funny because we played Pokemon. Because my nephew was... He's a big introvert. And so I was trying to get him out and socialize him. But I took him to Funkatronic Rex, one of the local stores. They have a big Pokemon League on like Saturdays and Wednesday nights. And so we went on... I can't remember if I went and got... I think I went and got him on a Saturday, and we went on a Saturday. Oh, yeah, I think so. And I picked him up, and I got him a Pokemon deck. We bought the decks, put the cards together, played some games, and then he never went again, you know? I think he felt uncomfortable playing with a bunch of people he didn't know. Mm-hmm. But he picked up like Magic and played here with people and did really well and enjoyed it. But he's very... You know, he's on to the next thing. He's 14, so he's got bright, shiny, and right now he's playing video games all the time. You know, but that was my step into Pokemon. I had a lot of fun with the lady, this woman who, she's older than I am, and she's like the head of judging. She's like a tier 3 or whatever the highest level judge for Pokemon is. She's like one of the regional judges in our area, and she runs all the introductory league and stuff around here, and I played her on that night, you know. while my nephew William was playing against somebody else, and that guy was great. He treated William like $1 million, so it was awesome. And because William didn't know what he was doing, and we had the factory decks. You buy like 2 decks together, and they're not bad, but they're not great. They're not going to stand up against people that know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And we're playing against these meta decks, and I was playing against her, and I kept saying Pokemans because around here I say Pokemans.
Yeah.
I'm going to kill your Pokemans. And she's like, they're Pokemon, and they do not die. They get knocked out. And I go, well, I'm about to knock out your Pokemans. And she got so flustered with me, she beat the tar out of me.
That's awesome.
Because she was all offended by I said Pokemans. She goes, it's literal for pocket monsters. And she was all serious about it. And I'm like, that's pocket monsters. Pokemans.
Pocket monsters.
Monsters. Pokemon is the best. It's okay. It's a good game.
I only ever played like on my Game Boy Advanced.
Rocket Chicken says Monopoly caused my kids premature birth. Just saying. A lot of stress going on there. Labor-inducing stress. Somebody had asked to see the chest of this model.
Yeah.
We can punch in a little bit. What are you wanting to see? I don't have a lot. I don't have any color on the crest.
Let me look.
Of the chest or the belt along the waistline, so there looks like there's some big gap areas there.
The gold emblem on the chest.
There's the gold lion that I'm starting to paint, and then the emblem here won't be gold, it'll be red wings and a white sword. Same with the shoulder. Will be the red wings and then the white sword. This one has the robed angel on it too, so I don't know what color I'll do the robed angel. Maybe white and a gold sword. I don't know.
That could be cool.
I'll figure something out. I didn't want to do all of the logo for the Legion logos in gold because they traditionally would be red in the like Heresy era, so doing it that way. I may get red on it and be like, well, let's make it gold.
Yeah.
But right now, the idea is gold. I feel like those were the 2 that I missed.
How often do you feel like you go into painting a model with a plan and then switch your plan?
So the more you hang out here, the more you realize I don't paint with a plan. I actively avoid planning on models because my painting style kind of finds its way across the model step by step. I like for a model to become what it wants to be, and that sounds a little hippy dippy. But it isn't intended to be. It's not like the model whispers to me and says, Jason, paint me purple.
At this point, I'm not. I could be convinced otherwise.
It's just that, I might put a color on a model and then, look at it and say, oh, you know what? Like I say, I want to paint the wings red. So that's technically a plan. If I paint the wings red, but because of the proximity of the red on the shield and the gold, and it looks too weird given the green cloak and all of that, I'll know very quickly. And then I can say, oh, not going to do that. We'll paint it gold, So I do backtrack on things that I have a concept for from time to time, but I very rarely start a model with a full-blown concept of what I want to do.
Right.
Because the way I paint is more open-ended. I look at whatever I just painted and look at, the area next to it and say, oh, it would be cool. And then I go that way.
Gotcha.
It just makes more sense for my style. My style is very sketchy and open anyway, and I refine it as I go. So choosing colors as I go and things like that makes perfect sense for that.
Right.
That style.
Rocket Chicken, paint me like one of your French girls.
Yeah, exactly.
Panic Bomb said, I think a certain owl might have whispered a few things, but they were probably really nasty jokes.
Hey, what goes on between me and Percival?
Like I said, I'm not convinced his models don't talk to him.
None your business.
They probably come to life in the middle of the night like Toy Story.
Oh, I'm convinced the models talk to each other. They don't share it with me. But yeah, that doesn't mean that you aren't able to attack a model with a plan. I know a lot of people that feel a lot more comfortable when they have an idea of what they're trying to achieve. And that makes all the difference in the world. And they stick to it. I know people that will pull out all the colors that they're going to use. And that's their starting point. They'll rummage through their drawers and say, okay, I'm going to do the armor in these colors. I'm going to do the cape in this color, and these and that and this and that. They have however many colors that is laid out in front of them, and then they go to work town. If they don't have all the colors picked out, then they don't start the model.
Right.
And there is absolutely nothing wrong with either of those. Just determine what makes sense for you, what makes you feel confident to navigate the model in question, and go for it. Because it is a situation where it needs to be something you're comfortable with, or it doesn't make sense. I'm very comfortable not caring about color and plan and any of that. It doesn't matter to me. If we were to say, hey, if I knew that chat wouldn't steer me wrong, I would be perfectly okay with a deal where it's like, okay, chat, what's the next color?
Yeah, and they're just going to
Chat's
say
just filled with horrible
fluorescent
humans,
pink.
and they would all pick pink and plaid and nonsense like that. If I honestly, if I thought for a second, chat would actually treat it seriously, we would do events like that.
Yeah.
They just can't be trusted. It's a known quantity right there.
That's fair. Shiventure said, and when they start painting each other, we are in trouble.
Well, we're out of jobs. That's for sure.
Small Soldiers was a cautionary tale. Yeah, I think I definitely like going into painting my models with a loose plan.
Sure.
But I'm okay if the plan changes.
Well, and that's another big key, right? Is that especially when dealing with color and shape, always I think it's better to know that don't feel bad if this changes.
Mm-hmm.
Don't feel bad if when you get there it doesn't feel the way you wanted it to.
Right.
The more accepting you are of that situation, the more prone you'll be to be okay with changing it should you need to.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll lead you in a much better path overall.
Right. Arctic Mini said, quick question. I have a buddy trying to do a leaking energy in his Necrons. Was wondering if there's a way to do it to make it seem like it's running down the model like a liquid. He's stumped and it's not something I've ever tried.
Leaking energy running down a model like a liquid. The big problem with that is it going to be physically sculpted? Right? We don't paint a lot of things that don't exist in the sculpt, generally speaking. Can you? Sure. Most of what we do, though, is like OSL, lighting. You've got a light source, and so you put a glow, like technically what I'm doing right now by painting this non-metallic metal is setting up this glow on the model in a certain way. So, we do that a lot. But painting something that is physical, like a liquid dripping on a model, right? Even tattoos become hard for this reason because they're not on the model. So you have to, attack it as if it was a canvas painting. And as long as you're comfortable with that, then yeah, you can definitely do stuff that way. I would start by determining, tell your friend, hey, do you want it to feel like a thick, oozy kind of liquid? If so, then you're going to need to take the time to focus on painting it in a way that gives it a dimension, so like, painting a shadow to it. So start dark and then highlight it and give it a shape and make it look like it's slime running down the model, but it just is brighter. That could be a way to do it.
Millimeter Matt has a question for you as well. How does he handle the panel lining when it comes to painting Battletech mechs? Does he use an all-over wash, then highlight the colors back up, or does he paint each crease individually? Does he do anything at all?
So for me, I start from a black base coat on all my models, pretty much. There's a rare occasion where I'm showing chat how to build up color over white that I'll start with a white prime base coat, but typically not. And because of that, all of the panel lining is done when I prime, is my mindset, right? So when I paint a mech, I probably don't have, let me go grab an example, because all the ones that I have here have been done with a wash as a showing you how to use Noosh rather than how I've actually painted mine. So give me a second.
You're gonna be left alone with me for a bit.
Oh God.
Awkwardish. The amount of times I've had to frog a project I'm working on because I messed up a stitch like 10 rows before. Uncountable. I do it all the time and it's the worst. So I'm definitely glad that this hobby is better when you mess up. Break into song while Jason is gone? Maybe. I feel like he'd probably hear it and then come yell at me. Frogging wad refers to when you're crocheting and you like just undo it. You can just pull the yarn and get rid of all your loops, and that's called frogging. It's just taking it apart. They wanted me to break into song.
Oh, no. No. So I grabbed a few, right? So starting from a dark base coat, and then we airbrushed all of the colors on here, and then used a flesh wash over the top. So I did an all-over wash, but because of the way I start from dark base coat, all of the panel lining had already stayed dark because I airbrush top down, right? So I don't ever airbrush straight on the model. So it's why, like, I started these models with purple, dark purple as a base coat, so you can still see the dark purple, right? Then I built up a bunch of layers of green up until almost a pale yellow. It might have been pale yellow dry brush at the top, and then flesh wash over the whole thing, and it gave me this kind of deserty camo scheme, right? And so because my airbrushing was from the top down, this direction, okay, it means that everything from this direction stays dark. That includes all those panel lines, right? So I have good shading built into the model because I never put paint on it this direction, except for the dark purple, right? And then from this direction, everything's bright like it would be in sunlight, right? So the panel lines on the top are not as dark, right? They still, because of the flesh wash, have a little bit of darkness, but then that would be the way that it would be. And then as you go down the model, the panel lines get darker and darker. So this is a much more natural way to paint where I don't have to focus on the panel lines. I don't do any panel lining. The overall wash was more of a filter for color because I wanted that kind of, believe it or not, this was like a faded, like a Korean War green, kind of faded green, military green. And then the flesh wash gave it that browning and gave it that kind of deserty feel, right? And then we went in with like the yellow green over the top for the unit marking kind of colors. And so all of that was already kind of just baked in. I don't really ever try to go in and paint panel lines. I start from black and I focus around the panel lines, focus on not putting paint into those panel line areas so that I don't have to go back and worry about them. Another good example. So on the Hulk that we just painted, right? You can consider all of the ridges in between the peaks and valleys, that the muscles create, almost like panel lines, right? They are. It's like, especially around his six-pack and his ribs and all of that. I never painted any of those, right? I just started, again, with dark blue, and then we did a magenta wash over the top of it to get some pinkishness in there so it looks like there's blood running through his veins. And at the end of the day, I just paint everything else from this direction, right? So all of my green goes on from the top, and you leave the dark areas dark, and you paint towards your light. Is the way I teach people to paint. Paint the model dark, and then pull all of your brush strokes towards your light source. For him, it's like up here by his arm. Like up here is the light source on him, right? And so stuff gets darker on this side. Okay. So by doing so, now you have this model that, works great, but I don't ever have to worry about the shadows. Unless I mess up and accidentally get a bright color in there and I might have to go and touch it up, but usually you don't worry about it. So panel lining is kind of not something I think about. I create the darkness and the wrinkles by only painting brighter colors towards my light and leaving the dark colors behind in the low spot of the wrinkle. So I never go back and paint the wrinkle. I never panel line it. I never have to worry about that. There's ways to avoid having to even think about those things. Just work from dark to light and keep a methodical approach to it. You'll get so used to it very quickly that you'll never worry about that again. Now, if you are panel lining, you can just do a very thin paint, or take like our transparent black and do that. But a wash is better on things like, these minis, because they do have a lot of panel lines and they're tiny and the recess, the sculpts aren't great. So they're not all as deep as you want them to be. So if you do a base coat, highlight, and then wash to darken the panel lines, and then come back and re-highlight, focusing not getting paint in the panel lines, then all of a sudden you're done. And that makes that very quick. So wash is probably my preferred way to do it, overall wash, rather than trying to paint individual lines, depending on how big the model is. On these, I would go blind trying to paint all the panel lines in. So I don't really want to mess with them like that.
Welcome, Raiders.
Hello!
Thank you for joining us today.
Mediocre Hobbies, what's going on? And hello, everybody. Tricky bugger. Shelby's throwing chat under the bus. I mean, you did try to get her to do something.
He was gonna see it anyway, too.
Hey, somebody likes us.
Thank you for following, Mr.
Thank you for the follow. We are working on the lion.
Looking spiffy.
Mr. Lionel Johnson. Lionel Johnson.
Elder Thad joined the stream late and I'm just catching the description for the light. I had a question and I'm sorry if it's been asked before, but related to the light, how does one go about making NMM look good on the non-lit side where it's all shadows?
I mean, really, it's kind of like I'm doing on this shield. Just pick out little bits of highlight that still make it look reflective, but keeping it dark. Here I'm painting the face and surface of everything, and here I'm only picking edges out early. So my mid-tone color becomes an edge highlight, right? And then my brightest color only peeks into little spots, like maybe right here in that curve, maybe a couple of the little deets for this rope thing that goes around. But that's really it. On the dark side of metal, most of it stays in darkness, and then only edges peek out into brightness. And you might have it, depending on how reflective you're doing it, you might have a little bit of reflection in there, but remember, your reflected light is going to be a much darker color. It would be your, just a step or two up from your base coat. You'll see me do a lot of that here. Same thing with the lion head on his shoulder. We're doing it. Right? My highlights tend to just be in the mid-tone coloring over here. And as I go brighter and brighter, I bring that brightness, up towards the spot where all the light would be and leave the rest of it alone. And I have to go back occasionally and touch it up and make sure that there's enough brightness to still pull off that this side is shiny too. But you can get caught overdoing it. And that's what'll mess it up. Make it feel a little awkward. If on the dark side you've got your brightest color too. You'll lose your contrast. And
Malabor said, on the dark side of metal. Heck yeah, that's a good album name.
On the dark side of metal.
That's a good album name.
There you go.
I liked it. That's the closest thing we'll get to Jason singing. Probably.
I sang the other day, man. What are you talking about? I belt out every now and then. I'm out of my shell.
Fuse is that a trick to cheat some coverage out of warm yellow, maybe mix a little of something else into it.
What's that?
T. Schmidt said Fuse is that a trick to cheat some coverage out of warm yellow, maybe mix a little of something else into it.
This is Wizard's Butt and dark golden brown. You could use warm yellow in with the dark golden brown though and get the same basic function. Yeah. Yeah. All the yellows are going to be less opaque. So if you're trying to get them to have more coverage, building them up over a mixed color surface that gets lighter, as you approach the same brightness as the warm yellow, it's going to cover better. Don't try to put yellows over black, that kind of stuff. We're always capturing people in customer service that are asking about, hey, your yellow is not covering very well, and they'll send us a picture of trying to paint it over black. And it's just educational. It's like, hey, that's not how to paint any yellow, right? Because it turns kind of green, number one, when you put it over black, which is never good. And then it also just won't give you the opacity you want, so you'll be fighting it the whole time.
Awkward Panda said Adepticon Monumental Karaoke.
No.
Maybe.
No.
It could be arranged.
No. Again, no.
He's saying no, but it'll happen.
My mouth is saying no, but my body's saying yes.
Game Delay said Wizard's button dark golden brown is a setup for a bad joke.
Well, did he just say no singing?
He did.
Okay, well. Good thing Gabe didn't make the rules.
Yeah, seriously. Hello, Atreides. Karaoke is the first sign of the coming apocalypse.
Hey, Atreides.
Hey, somebody likes us.
Take it easy, Malabar. Yeah, great questions today, gang.
Yeah, a lot of good ones.
Keep them coming.
I learn a lot too.
The trick, as with all painting, is just finding your own stride. What makes it click? You can paint in the world of miniatures. You can paint for years and years and years and never really worry about directed lighting. You don't have to sweat it, as long as you keep all of your highlights going in the same direction. Who cares, right? A lot of people start out by, I paint the top of the model bright and the bottom dark. And as long as that's the way you go and you follow the rule with every brush stroke, your model's going to look great. You don't have to sweat the small stuff if you just stick to a plan.
Game Delay said, thanks for rating Eric Swinson last night. Learned so much from how he thought about light.
Yeah, Eric does a great job with it too. Eric is a fantastic painter all the way around. And, all you have to do is look at all his trophies to understand that. But he has a really good, solid mindset on how to approach a model, especially when you're trying to approach something that's more complicated or that has reflective surfaces and you're dealing with light from multiple sources. Because when you do non-metallic metal, and technically, when you're painting metal, period, whether you're using metallic paints or not, everything that's metal, when it reflects light, becomes a light source of its own. It's like a mini flashlight, right? Because it reflects anything reflective. Let's not just include metal. Glass, shiny plastic, patent leather can be anything that's reflective enough that the reflection starts to turn into an image of the light itself. So if you think about a good way is like the polished helmet that Darth Vader has when he's walking through the Death Star, and you can see little dots of light in the helmet. Those dots of light are the lights in the ceiling. And the fact that they're little round dots is because they're little round lights in the ceiling, right? And so when you have that, when it's less reflective, then those lights start to blur out and they just become brightness. They don't have any dimension to them, right? So the more your reflectiveness starts to pinpoint what it's reflecting, the more it becomes mirror-like, because a mirror shows you what you're looking at, right? Whereas a piece of brushed stainless steel just shows you shine, right? Still reflective, more so than fabric and such. But the more it gets to where you're starting to see the image and the reflectiveness in there, it starts to become more and more of a light source. It reflects light back at the world around it. And so, I've done stuff like this. So we have, make sure I don't have paint on my brush. Right? So I have stuff like this little reflection that I'm doing on the shoulder right here is going to be a reflection of the gold shield in the armor plating. So later on, I will go back and I will add a little bit of yellow to that. Right? We can do it right now. Because we're working with about the right color of our gold blend. Right? We want to get it pretty thin. And then we want to take that and just kind of have a little bit of that show up along that line. Right? Just enough of a hint of yellow to make sure that we feel like that's the shield. Mm. And by adding a color to my reflectiveness, now I've made it more reflective, right? Because now it's shining back into it as, oh, that's from that gold shield. And it makes the shoulder plate seem like it's shinier than it was before. You know, the same thing over here where this lion and the gold trim is shining into it. I'll do that with a little bit of yellow and all this too. So that usually I do at the end, but just to show you. How do you zenithal prime a 2D model?
Sounds like Ghost Hunter's doing his texture trainer.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about, Willis? You don't zenithal prime 2D models. A 2D is a piece of paper. You can't zenithal prime a flat surface. It has to have 3 dimensions. It's called values and volume sketching if you're working on a 2-dimensional surface. You just get a charcoal and work shadows into it, baby. Welcome to the big show.
Treaties Minis asked earlier, do you know why Jimmy has not streamed this week?
Why who?
Jimmy.
Jimmy the Brush?
I don't know, they just said Jimmy. That's all I know.
Are we talking about Jimmy the Brush? I do not.
Yes.
I do not. Did they have a vacation planned or something? I don't
know.
In the wife? I do not know.
My mom bought a texture trainer the other day.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great teaching model. And I love that we've had a lot of people that have bought. A lot of people have bought it just to collect it. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people have bought it because they can see the value in, oh my gosh, mm-hmm. I can see that would be an easy way to start testing painting outside of just Space Marines.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, we saw that a lot at LVO. Like, we'd show people the texture trainer, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. JP Gray, I bought one. I hope to have time to paint in the next year. Hello, Mythic Props.
Mythic, what's going on?
Paint it during the inevitable downtime of operating a Pokemon store.
I mean, I paint every day.
Yeah, but Jason, that's part of your job.
I mean, I paint every day.
I need to figure out what to paint next on my night bells.
The bells?
The bells.
There's no bells.
There are bells.
Oh, there are bells?
Mm-hmm.
Like up at the top of the tower?
Yeah.
Oh,
they're like, yeah.
What do you mean not knowing what I'm talking about? I don't have that model. It's a really good model.
It is a really good model.
You have one of the last ones in the world.
I know. We still have quite a bit on our shelf, though.
Oh, do we?
Not like a ton, but we have a few.
Starting to look good.
The night. Anyone excited for the plastic solar aux that were announced? I know it's a few days late, but I live under a painting desk.
I love the concept of it. I'm not a big Solar Auxilia fan, so it doesn't really matter to me at all. But yeah, I love the idea of more of the heresy coming to plastic for sure. I think that out of that, the plastic Malkador tank is fantastic. That's always a neat thing to see.
Estrella said, what I am excited about is the upcoming rules for 30k Black Shields and Shattered Legions in the new campaign book.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, somebody was talking about that and hoping they had some, models and stuff, but that didn't really happen. But it's still nice to know that that kind of stuff is coming. They still can do some fun stuff in that, even though you're limited in the amount of actual armies you can have. Although even though the Eldar weren't really present through the human side of the war, they were involved in fighting chaos during that time and defending the webway and the intrusions after Magnus and all of that stuff. So there's things that you can imagine happening. I just don't know or think that Games Workshop will do it unless they, after the last book that's about to come out, start building models for after the fall kind of stuff. I'm sure you see where they take it.
Ghost Hunter said the Kroot army box that was announced might actually get me into 40k.
Man, I gotta tell you, I'm with you on that. The Kroot army box is the only thing I saw at the whole announcement that I was like, oops. I will be painting some Kroot. I'm going to be painting some of the Krootox for sure. Those models were great. And I'm a pretty big Kroot fan. I just have always liked the Kroot models. So you may find me. I won't be playing them, but you might find them popping up on stream being painted. Maybe I can convince one of the people at the studio here at HQ to buy them for their army, and I'll paint some of theirs for them.
I'm sure you could convince Gabe very easily.
I don't know, man. I told Gabe I would paint some of his models before, and he was like, nope.
Yeah,
same with Chris.
That's kind of... Wow.
Freaking Christmas Sushi. I told him I'd paint weird. A giant. Chris made me go buy my own damn giant.
Christopher and Gabe are weird like that.
He had King Broad. I was really stoked to maybe paint King Broad, and he wasn't having any of it. So I had to go buy my own giant.
Gabe said, I will not buy a 4th game this month. But you could. You could, though.
Oh, listen to Schlebby.
And he said
pressure abounds here in the studio.
He said that Christopher regrets not letting you paint it.
Oh, I'm sure after he saw me paint the giant I painted. He even was like, yeah, when I saw that skin, I was like, yeah, that was probably a mistake.
T. Schmidt said, I can bring you a Kroot kill team at Adepticon.
I don't want a kill team. Well, I mean, maybe that's all. Maybe you're saying the same thing. It may be that's. I want to paint Krootox writers. They got new Krootox writers. They're just bitching.
Every time you say that, I just think of croutons.
Croutons, yeah.
Croutons.
Croutons. Same thing.
Yeah.
Literally same thing.
That's just where my mind goes because I have no frame of reference for what they look like, so they sound like croutons. So I'm just envisioning a bunch of croutons.
So the Kroot are these weird avian-looking aliens who their whole shtick is that they eat the dead that they fight. They eat their opponents, and they gain, like, it changes their DNA structure, and they gain components of what they eat. Right? They're not cannibals necessarily, but like if they kill a space marine, they'll eat the space marine, and you might see some of them that gain some sort of, you know, ability that the space marines had.
Interesting.
Maybe they're heavily armored or something, like thicker skinned if they eat an ogrin or something, you know. So there's some interesting stuff that happens in that.
They sound scary.
I don't know if that's still part of the game, but that was the way they used to be. And I just thought that was fun. I wanted a whole pack because they look like indigenous hunters or something. They have like feathers in their headdresses and, you know, leather strips dangling off of them, and you know they look like the motliest bunch in the world.
That's awesome.
And I really dig that.
Game Delay said, "War is like salad. Shelby probably." Hey. I could make an analogy for you if you really want me to. Gabe said, "Jason, I need you to stop talking about it. My wallet begs you." Give in.
Gabe, if you buy a box, I'll paint at least one of your Crutox riders for you. That's not what he wants, though. I guarantee you. Oh, I also want to paint the War Shaper. I want to paint the War Shaper, who's the general. I'll paint the main character because he's badass, right? And then I want to paint like some of the riders, because the Crutox riders are bitching.
Stop, please. Jason fills the wallet. Jason empties the wallet. This is his right.
That's the way it goes around here. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I love it. JP with the reality, the logic, the hard-hitting truth. Hey, typing has no effect on your ability to hear. His office is literally right down the hall, too. So yeah. He could probably just hear me talking. Cyberpunk Red Combat Zone and FOMO'd it all the way home. What is Cyberpunk Red Combat Zone? Is it like a skirmish game? I don't know it. I know Cyberpunk. Skirmish? Yeah, okay, cool. This streamer you watch ate 40-ish sugar-free gummy bears and only lasted about 1.5 hours before he succumbed to their effects.
Oh boy.
What's the effects?
I'm pretty sure sugar-free gummy bears give you the poops.
Oh, do they?
I think so.
Oh, wow.
I think, like, if you
Oh, so much poop!
Yeah. If you look at reviews on, like, Amazon, people will be like, "These made me poop so much." It's like a laxative.
Dude, that ain't right. There's a problem there.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
Learned this when I gave some to the kids for a road trip. Oh, gosh.
Oh, God. It's like that when they first went through that big swing of potato chips, fat-free potato chips. They used that, I think it was called, like, Olestra or something stupid like that. Everybody found out it was like a laxative.
Ugh.
It made people sick. Like, oh, but your potato chips are fat-free. Your potato chips don't taste as good, and you poop a lot.
Yeah, is it worth it? I don't think so.
Win-win. Now I hate potato chips.
Yes, Jen, you were just in time for poop talk. We were talking about sugar-free gummy bears. Yeah, those reviews are crazy. People are really honest.
There was a guy a long time ago who did fake, or maybe not fake, but on like Craigslist. He would go list things on Craigslist for sale. It was like his old lawnmower.
Mm-hmm.
And he would have like a 6-page dissertation about how horrible this lawnmower was. He did one for like an old boat. He was an Australian guy, I think. He wound up writing a book. I have one of his books. He got so much fanfare from his Craigslist ads that he wrote a book. And one of his books was forget if it, I think it was Penguin Press. He got dropped from Penguin Press, and so he got another publisher. And on the front of his book, he made this derogatory picture of a penguin. And Penguin Press sued them.
Uh-huh.
And so he released it with the penguin just a little bit different. And they were like, that's not how this works. He goes, okay, wait, I'll do it different again. Because one of his famous things in the book, he did these emails, and he would have these emails exchanges with people. And nobody knows if they're real or not, or made up. Probably mostly made up. But he had this one where he was like selling, I think it was on Craigslist again, he was selling fine art that he had done. And it was a 7-legged spider that he drew. He just drew this 7-legged spider. Oh my God, it's so hilarious.
That's awesome.
So hilarious. And people gave him crap about his spider not having the right amount of legs. So he changed something, but not the amount of legs. And there were people that were just railing on him. So he'd always just gig them a little bit. He poked the bear just a little bit. Oh, he's so hilarious. I only have that book on digital, but the cover that I have is the one with the penguin on it that was derogatory. And as of yet, they have not changed the digital cover of the book that you downloaded. It may be different because I haven't looked at it in a long time.
Yeah.
But
that's awesome.
The fermentation of pear juice produces that same poop-driving alcohol sugar. Oh my God. Sugar-free Acryl. All Acryl is sugar-free. And it does cause you to poop.
Yeah.
So don't eat the paint.
So don't eat the paint.
You do not want
if you need to poop, then
don't want
have
the after
sugar-free gummy
effects.
bears.
It is not a laxative.
No.
So by me saying it makes you poop does not mean that, oh, I can eat it when I'm having a hard time, when I'm not regular. Not what I just said.
It's not something to read over a bowl of chili. Why would you read Amazon reviews over anything? That will ensure I don't eat the paint. I don't do sugar-free.
Neither do I. It's horrible. Just eat the sugar, suffer the consequences. Enjoy your life.
Hello, Avian.
Probably shouldn't eat as much sugar as they throw at us nowadays, but
yeah,
everything's got tablespoons worth. I think they said we were eating like 400 more times sugar than we would have if we were alive 50 years ago.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, pretty scary.
I know you guys were talking about the oils yesterday. And
vegetable oil.
It's so hard to avoid it because it's just in everything.
Yeah, there was a reason for that.
Mm-hmm.
The whole industry. Somebody with a lot of money invested in vegetable oil futures. Advertising took it from there.
Yeah.
I'm like, they used to advertise that cigarettes were great for you too. That didn't age well.
Nope. Yeah, it's unfortunate that it's so difficult to find unprocessed foods nowadays. For a while I was looking into it because I was trying to get my acne under control. because it had gotten really bad for some reason. And
A lot of that is dietary.
Yep. And so I was like, okay, well, I need to fix something, but it's so hard to avoid. They call them polyunsaturated fatty acids.
Yep.
And it's in everything. And it's the worst.
But yeah, you gotta like, shop and cook for yourself almost.
Yeah. And even then, it's like, oh, well, you have to be careful about these things.
Yeah.
Golly.
What oil you're using.
Yeah.
What additives you're putting in.
Yep.
Ain't easy. Switch to crickets.
Gross.
I do have to admit that like the cricket flour and stuff is not bad.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, you don't even know.
Yeah.
If they didn't call it cricket, you wouldn't even know.
Cricket flour?
Yeah, it's not shaped like crickets. It's just powder. Who cares?
That's so strange.
I don't care where it comes from as long as it works.
What do you use cricket powder in?
It's just any place you can replace flour.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
The idea is a little off-putting, for sure.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Eating bugs.
But it definitely would be less off-putting in a powdered form,
Oh yeah, I mean, like things that you use, like if it was like baking soda or something,
right.
You can't replace baking soda, but you get my drift, right?
Yeah,
Something like that, you're like, this is processed bugs.
Yeah.
Who cares? I'm not gonna pick up like a cockroach and be like, delicious. It's like when they put the crickets and they fry them and dip them in chocolate, and I'm like, still no. Still no.
Not here for it.
Turns out, no. You can do hire a better marketing guy. We're done. Unlike Dinobites, they don't shape foods made from crickets into cricket shapes. Dinobites, however, are definitely made from dinosaurs. This is dinosaur meat. Where'd you get that from? Well, this core drilling in Alaska. I think we're watching that television show right now. That and you're allergic to cockroaches. Everybody's allergic to cockroaches.
Hello. Which one are you choosing, left or right?
I don't know.
You're going
this one.
You're going right. Oh no, that's left.
Cockroaches are like the worst thing on the planet.
God. There we go.
It's a Jen.
Yeah.
A Jen.
Hello.
She's joining
For
us.
the last 15 minutes.
How's Cora?
She was a pain in my butt.
Oh.
Like she did not want to.
Have you come and go?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
Didn't want to come in after going outside.
Didn't want to come in.
Yep.
So I left her out for a minute, and then she came in.
You gotta go to the side where the little other. Yep, and then HDMI one.
Ah. Hello.
Jen is muted.
Say something evil? No. I'm not falling for that. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're
Okay.
good.
She's not. Jabe is messing. Like, is that a lie, JP? You just don't want to hear me?
No, it might have just been soft.
No, I'm sure it was. Yeah.
And talks like she's got secrets.
I do. No, I like to have just a soothing voice.
Mm. It's like a late night talk show.
Yeah. If I'm in the warm colored chair, I'm the bad influence. What?
I
I
don't
don't
think that's
understand
right.
that, but I am in the warm colored chair. Is it warm because it has a blanket? It comes with a blanket.
No,
there
it's
you go.
chair.
it's the lighting of the cameras.
yeah.
The other one
The other
has like a
I
colder,
know it makes
brighter
you look
lighting.
like you're dying.
Yeah, it always washes
dead.
me out.
Yeah.
So I sit in the one you're in. The other chair is whiter light, and you're the shoulder angel.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
That's why Jacob sits there. Because he's the angel?
Apparently. I don't know about that.
These
He was
people
listening.
don't know the same Jacob we know.
He was listening to you guys. I had the stream on in my office, and I was showing him how to do the distributor orders, and he just, like, he was sitting over there just working, and then I'd hear him just chuckle, like, I'm like, what are you talking about over there? He was saying something about in response to whatever you were talking about, game related. One of those things where I just smile and nod.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm like, okay,
exactly.
glad you enjoy this.
Yeah. I do a lot of that here.
Yeah.
I read the comments. I'm like, I don't know what I'm saying,
Mhm.
but Jason gets it.
Yep.
And I'll just
That
smile
is-
and listen.
Yep. And that's, yeah, a lot of times they'll be like, what? And I just read what the people type. I can't help you.
I
I
can't.
love it. Jen every now and then she's like, those words mean nothing.
I'm like, that sounds made up to me. So.
Those words are made up and mean nothing.
So how long do you have to work at Monument before you get a tattoo the logo Shelby? You know, I could get a pretty like decorative Baroque style M if I
Ooh.
wanted to. All of my tattoos have a very
Hobby nerd and Old
Specific
English
style.
across your stomach.
yeah. Ooh, Jade needs to let her basing texture dry so she can finish her mechs. Exciting.
Nice.
Battletech, is that what you're playing in
I'm taking a
Minnesota?
mini axe. Yep.
The little robots.
They are not robots. They are piloted by dudes and dudettes.
Game
Jason's-
Delay said, chat as well, what do you think of the Clogthorpe Rebellion factions and the Wizeezy
Mhm.
update? And Jason talks for the next 30 minutes and reply.
Yes, that is my experience.
Yes.
Perfectly described, Game Delay. Friend says Bubba, which is his middle name is literally Bubba. On his tummy, over his belly button.
Wow.
Just in case he forgets, he can look down.
Yeah.
Who am I? Bubba.
Bubba.
I am Mortal Kombat said, do I need to account for a light source if I'm weathering with Noosh? If so, do I highlight the flat top of the tank or the edges only?
Okay, let me process this. You don't have to. It depends on, how you set the whole model up in general. I tend to treat tanks in what I call a panel highlight method, meaning that they're going to be highlighted in towards the inside of each panel. So if you're doing noosh, you're trying to keep darkness. I don't know if I have anything like that here, because maybe here. Here's a side of a tank, right? And so I typically treat the edges as being where the paint rubs and actually darker, which is different than what we do on most models. I still highlight that area, but pull my darkness towards the edges, because that's where the dirt catches and tends to build up, as opposed to on the flat face, right? And so there's not a really good showing of that here. What do I have? I have my Dark Angels tank.
Why is that blue on the other side?
This is just the test tank.
Oh, okay.
We painted it with just dry brush only on this side, and this side like I would do a scale model style tank.
I didn't even notice that.
Right. So this is my Dark Angel scheme. So it's actually very, very dark. So it's probably not as simple to tell what I'm doing here. But notice how the brightness on this panel is kind of nestled in this little spot up top, and then kind of teardrops down with the darkness towards the outside of the panels. And I do that everywhere. And that's called panel highlighting. You do that with the airbrush, right? And so as you airbrush your model, you're just trying to highlight the middle of the panel, like this area here, off to the sides, and it's dark around the outsides. Then when you dry brush those edges, it really pulls those edges out and gives it that gritty look, right? That kind of worn look. So then if you're using Noosh and you're doing like an all over filter, then all of these, if you have this set up with it's bright in the middle of the panel, dark towards the edges, and then highlighted edges, no matter how you do the Noosh, it'll keep that value even when it discolors. If you're adding Noosh to do the weathering, then you can focus your brighter colors, like in the Noosh tank video that Baby J did. I don't know if we've reposted that one or not. You can use white with your Noosh or bright neutral gray with your Noosh, and you can put dot filters and streak it down in the highlight areas, and then you can do darker colors around it depending on how detailed you want to get. So I don't know if I'm answering your. It's camouflage for when the tank goes flying sideways through the air. So you're talking about that.
He's talking about the half green, half blue.
I'm like, what are you
I'm
talking
like
about?
that's believable.
It makes no sense at all, but now it does.
Donnie Dynamo wants to give a shout out to Beige Red for being one of the most versatile paints.
Oh, it's so good, right?
It's a great pickup for anyone, even outside of the curated set.
Yeah, it's fantastic. All of those
Thank
colors,
you, Vince Venturella.
All of the signature sets are colors that are not necessarily intended to all go together. They're just intended to be colors that those artists find that they use every model. Those colors are super versatile because of that. They do way more than what is written on the bottle almost, right? You look at beige red and you're like, oh, it's another skin tone. You're like, well, but it does so much more.
And yeah, Vexing Workshop, that is Vince's set. Game delay, sure. Helpful? I had to think about helpful is where I got caught up.
Yeah, the dark ivory from the Ninjon set is also a good one.
They're very, very, very popular color.
All of them are. White,
they
blue.
really are. White, blue is like...
White, blue is one of my most used colors now, by far. It has become... I use it for my highlight on any non-metallic steel, pretty much no matter what I've used to build up to non-metallic steel. And on a lot of my steel, I even go so far as use it with the Payne's Gray, Dark Sea Ben, Blue Black. I use it for khaki for most of my development of the steel colors. Here, that's all we did on this was Payne's Gray and White Blue is all of the black armor buildup is done with those two colors, and then the glaze of black and blue over the top of it to get us the final armor value.
Game delay, I didn't. I totally read it the opposite, which I can tell you you recognized. But I still stand by my response.
Yikes. I have every color you guys have except the floral.
Gotta get the
Yeah, I think they're
when
out.
They're back in stock.
Yeah.
You gotta get those.
Gotta snatch them up when they're in stock.
Oh, Vexing. Yeah, dark ivory dry brush over black brown primer is the start of a lot of your models. Are you doing a lot of fantasy models, or is that also for your sci-fi stuff? Because that's a great combo. A lot of people forget that when doing zenithal style workups, if you're doing like a pre-shade, pre-highlight, value sketch, using color is a great way to do it. And yeah, so black, brown, dark ivory, great way to start your values on models. Works like a champ. Glad to hear it.
Yeah, Chuck, we do have an Evo bag sidekick. I mean, for basically what it could be.
Yeah.
We've got a couple new options that could be considered sidekicks for your Evo
couple
bag.
sidekicks. Be good.
Yeah, we've got the mini case and the Neo. The Neo is a half-size go bag. It just holds, it has one paint tray, so 48 paints. Still has a back compartment for storage. Fold down front. That is basically akin to having like one wing fold down out of the front of it. And has elastic straps on there to hold a palette. Will hold your brush case underneath the paint tray. Great little tool.
Ghost Hunter, you gotta hurry because we have to end right at 4 today.
Yeah, Jen and I have a meeting. Not very far, but we still gotta get there.
I'm sure Chuck has a birthday coming up this year sometime.
Oh God, wait till Christmas. Is that what somebody said?
No, just it was Chuck's reaction.
Yeah.
Oh.
He said, "Well, shoot."
Shoot. Fudge.
Yep. And then we've got a Powell's webbing like Nalgene water bottle holder that is also just kind of a bag of many things. You can put all sorts of stuff in it, attach it to the side of your go bag, and carry more stuff in that, as well as I mentioned the mini, and the mini case is designed to do exactly that, carry miniatures, and it has a Velcro attachment. It just Velcros to the back of the Go Bag Evo or the Go Bag Neo, and allows you to tote your minis along with you too. And there'll be a special deal for buying the Neo, the new smaller size Go Bag, and the mini bag together when we come out with them.
Ooh.
Yeah, JP, like they're saying, it's a water bottle. Backpack style straps.
Nope.
That's not it.
No. The design for it started out as a backpack, but to do the fold out workspace front end is just not possible. I mean, it's not that it's not possible. It was that the design and the final cost of it would have been a $500 bag.
That would feel like a jetpack.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it needs to be big.
Yeah.
And so having the shoulder straps would be cool and all, but designing it for that style of carry was, believe it or not, just too pricey at the end of the day. We had a price target we wanted to hit that was sub $200, and our design team was like, that can't happen. You know, there's just no way. You know, the bag itself, like I said, would have been somewhere between like $400, $500 retail, and that just didn't have value to me. We already get pelted for the bag being $195. People flame us for being greedy corporate America.
Does everyone know about your
Who here saw the post on
today?
Discord today? That one was funny.
Yeah, I went into his office to tell him, and he was like, "Hold on, let me tell you this."
Yeah.
Pulled it up and showed her I just done it.
money grubbing sons of bees?
Have you seen the size of that bag? Yeah, it's
That's
big.
the thing is that they haven't.
Yeah, I think people think it's a
When
lot
the new video
smaller.
commercials come out, I think it'll all start to shake shape. We've had a lot of people who have told us over the years that, well, the year that we've had the Evo, that, you know,
It's
they knocked it
crazy.
at first, but then they actually saw one. We had one guy who flamed it online, got in a big argument with us.
Like nasty
one,
about it.
bought
Called us.
one.
He was the one who called us like basically money grubbing sons of bees.
Yeah.
Basically, he called
Yeah,
us.
he did.
He's dragon-esque greed or
Yeah,
something.
Dragon
he
S3.
said.
Wow.
He then
It
bought
was-
one.
Yeah, and he came back and was like,
He's
foot
like, yeah,
mouth.
he was cool enough to say, hey,
Yeah.
I was totally wrong. He goes, there's some things I would change, but all in all, this is a fantastic bag and well worth the money. And I was like,
Oh, that's good.
what that shows us is that we haven't done a very good job of showing people,
Yeah.
but it's very difficult until you see it in the wild
Yeah.
to really get it all, because pictures just don't do it justice.
Yeah.
You know,
That's why
but yeah,
they
this
do-
guy woke up
that's
and
why
chose
they're-
violence today, and I was like, okay, you just need a hug. So I did this stick figure. I stole his profile picture from Facebook, and cut his head out and put stick body on his huge head, and then just had a stick figure of us with a monument, hat, giving him a hug.
So good.
He didn't answer me after that.
Oh, he didn't.
After the hug one, he shut up. He was,
He's
no,
like, I
no more,
did need a hug.
no more comebacks.
Yeah.
I told Gabe today we should come up with a commercial. Monument, doing our part, making the community a better place, one hug at a time.
Yeah, when does the bag ad go up?
As soon as we have stock in of the new bags, which should be 2 weeks, 3 weeks,
Ooh.
then we'll start looking at putting it all together and running the ads. They'll probably drop, late February, maybe mid. It really just depends on when the stock is here and when we feel like we've got everything arranged correctly to handle it.
Right.
Soon, very soon. We
Who
will
is the
let
smallest
everybody in
person
the
in the
Discord
company?
and Twitch know, of course, as soon as we have all of that great stuff available.
Yes.
That's our new tagline, Game Delay.
What's that?
Monument Hobbies. Money grubbing sons of bees.
Money grubbing sons of bees. Dragon-esque sons of bees. We need to do a commercial that has like all of those type of comments on it.
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of did that with the
Oh,
who it is.
Gabe, that kind of goes. I know Gabe was asking about like low reviews, like low star reviews, because I had an idea.
Mm.
We just need to look through the Facebook comments.
Facebook comments, yeah.
New sticker when? We were just talking about a new
T-shirt.
T-shirt.
Mm.
Don't need the paint.
Make Don Mahogany say them all. That would be funny.
Yeah. I think somebody though suggested a sticker idea the other day. Maybe it was like chase the point or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mm.
based on the video.
Yep.
Oh, that was before we even made it a video. That's
Well, it
before
was
Gabe did
during
the edit.
stream when
Yeah,
you were
during the
saying
stream.
it and talking about it, and then Gabe clipped it.
Mm-hmm. Follow the point, chase the point.
Follow the point, yeah. That's true. The money grubbing dragon. That's gonna be our
That would
next
be
sticker.
awesome.
It's like the current ad, you know, dear Mark M from California.
Yeah.
Trash Pandas would like to thank you for all the pro acryl you threw out because you didn't realize our ad was a joke.
Yeah.
Oh, Jake. So when Jacob was putting in the distributor order, he saw a bold sense of humor for the first time. He hadn't seen that before, and he's like, "What's that?" I'm like, "Well, let me tell you."
Oh boy.
I said it's $499. It does have 5-star reviews.
Yeah, we could do a greedy dragon sticker.
Yeah.
I think that'd be good. Get on that, Gabe. Write that down.
Put it on the whiteboard.
People have purchased what? The bold sense of humor? No, but they've left reviews for it.
Yeah,
We haven't
yeah.
sold any.
We haven't sold any.
I am committed to making a 3D sculpted bottle with the Groucho glasses on it and arms that hold paintbrushes as a paintbrush holder. So you'd have basically a paint bottle with legs and arms and Groucho Marx glasses that would hold 2 paintbrushes on your desk
So good.
if we sell one.
Awesome. I am crazy, just not that crazy.
Well, we've had people ask, like they've contacted us and said, is this a real product? Or am I going to be mad because I just get a $500 bottle of yellow paint?
Yeah. Well, it's only a real product if 2 other people buy it as well.
All right, it's 3:55. I'm going to go lock up,
Okay, yeah, we gotta get
check
going.
the perimeter, and then I'm going to go.
Time to go.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Jen. I mean, if you're mad about what you get paying $500 for a sense of humor, then you bought the wrong product. It's true. The whole point of it.
That's a good stopping point. Anyway, I got most of my stuff back to where I'm even with all the gold across all the things I forgot, like this sword hilt.
Gabe, I might need your help with the end of stream, because I've never done it before.
Oh, Gabriel!
Gabe!
Coming along. Making progress. He's like, I spent $500. I can't even remember. That's funny, Big Bob. Game Dog's like, I have no response. I cannot figure out how to respond. Look at Ghost Hunter doing Shelby's job.
I know, it's great.
Ghost Hunter, thank you so much. Being on point there. Thank you, guys and gals, so much for hanging out with us again. If you're new around here, please hit that follow button if you have not done so already. Follow all those links that Ghost Hunter just put up in chat. The store and the FLGS link will link you out to the places where you can find all of our Monument Hobbies products. All the paints and brushes you've seen me painting with today are available there. The FLGS link shows you all the stores across the globe that carry our stuff. And, of course, the store link brings you directly to monumenthobbies.com where you can buy direct from HQ, where we stream from, right here, this building. And then, of course, the Discord and the YouTube links will get you out to our social media stuff. Discord being a great community of wonderful painters just like yourselves, where you can share and get inspiration and meet new friends, have great hobby fun. And then, of course, our YouTube, where all these videos eventually make it when we're done. And Gabe uploads them over there. So stick around. We're going to find somebody to raid. Gabe is going to annoy Shelby until she figures out how to raid somebody. And we'll pass you along for some great hobby content. Who are we going to raid?
I don't know yet.
Scroll down. What is today? Thursday?
Yeah.
Thursday? Yeah. Yeah, raid the War Mistress.
Where is that?
We are going to be raiding the War Mistress.
Help, Gabe, help! How do I do it?
/raid.
Base.
And then _War Mistress.
Boop.
I think that's how she does her name.
We're gonna find
There you
out.
go. Okay, she's ready. So the raid's going to start now. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow. Remember, we do stream 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 2 to 4. We'll be back again tomorrow at the same time. Do some more work on the lion. Hope to see you then. Have a great evening. Catch you tomorrow.
Bye.